Welcome to the Green Tea channel. This is Tristan. It's good to have the Green Tea team back. Today is Saturday, the 6th of June 2020 in Taupo, New Zealand. Big thank you and much appreciation for everyone who has viewed and liked the previous videos, and it was great to have the live stream on Wednesday the 3rd. It was a really good discussion, and I will be planning another live stream, and I will let people know on that in the upcoming days and weeks. I've been thinking of a song, Neil Young, Rocking in the Free World. Keep on rocking in the free world. So, earlier this year, I was thinking how fortunate and blessed I am to be living in a free Western democracy in New Zealand. We have democratically elected governments. We have a free market economy, where if someone works hard, they can get rewarded for their efforts. We have lots of freedoms and rights built into our New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990. Freedom of movement, freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to refuse a medical treatment. These things are in the New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990. And I was just thinking how fortunate that we are, and I am, to be living in a country like this with all of these protections and rights and freedoms. Property rights, private property rights, this sort of thing. A good justice system, a good education system, all of these things. And years ago, I worked with a woman who lived in East Germany. She was a little bit older than me. I was brought up in the 70s and 80s as a child, and we were always taught to value our freedom, and there was the Cold War going on and the communist government and all this kind of things. We were taught to value our rights and our freedoms and to fight for them and speak up for them, and we had all these examples of China and Russia and Marxist left type ideologies that had been implemented in different parts of the world, and how terrible they were. And we got brought up with that kind of, to really fight and value and speak up for these things that I just mentioned, all of these values and rights that we have built into our Bill of Rights, some of which have been changed by this new V-word act, that police can now come into your house with no warrant, or your place of work. They can come in to keep, to enforce the new V-word legislation. So anyway, I was working with a woman that was living in East Germany, and they had the Stasi police. The police had such powers, and no one could trust. They had such a load. You couldn't even trust family members or friends, because you never knew who was in with the Stasi police, who would report you to the Stasi police, it was such a negative, the stories she would tell me were just shocking, just shockingly bad. and they wanted to know where you were. They wanted to trace your movements, who you were with, what you were saying, whether you were for the government, whether you were against the government. And there's hints of that coming in now with all of this contact tracing, Big Brother tracing. I call it Big Brother tracing, where they need to know in the guise of keeping the population safe from the V word, where you've been, who you've been with, your complete movements. This is a breach of our right to free movement and freedom of association. Yeah, these types of things, we have to be aware that this is where it's coming in this moment in time, allegedly to keep us safe. And then what? Then what about when this passes and now it's something that's out there? Also, the numbers to call in and report people that are gathering in groups that are too large, and this is that sort of this divide and conquer type thing. People aren't trusting the others, and people may say, okay, we're moving into level 1 and things are like progressing, and it may not be an issue moving forward, but we need to say, what if something like this happens again? How can we guard against our rights and freedoms and the government passing bills that now allows the police to come in to your home with no warrant to enforce a rule that they brought in just for a special circumstance, that public consultation is required. People need to have their say on this type of thing, because these little incremental chipping away and etching away at our freedoms and rights, these little things all add up. Also the censorship, if you put something up that goes against the World Unhealth Organization's what they say is the correct thing for the V word, if you put up something like saying vitamin C is good to build immunity or this and that, and go against the mass vaccination narrative, a lot of doctors are getting their information pulled down, taken off the internet. That's some Chinese communist style stuff. Yeah, and that's happening. That's happening. People are getting censored in the West. That's how the Chinese, they go, this is what you need to see, this is what you don't need to see. That is not freedom of the press. That's not freedom of speech. People should be able to share their views. We have if people are saying a call to violence, there's certain calling other people to violence, or one other thing, I'm not exactly sure what it is. That is illegal speech, because that is disallowed. But for someone sharing another opinion, that's the difference between us and the communist, socialist, totalitarian type governments and systems. Even if we disagree with what's coming up, we need to have the space to have the discussion and just put it out there. Yeah, I'm okay with people being able to come into my comments and disagree with me and say that and I've had people come up to me and say, hey, I agree with some of your things, I disagree with some of your things. That's the free market. We're free beings. We have free will and volition. We're sovereign beings. So these things that chip away and take away our freedoms, yeah. So that Neil Young song, keep on rocking in the free world. Yeah, I am very mindful at these as David Icke calls it, the totalitarian tiptoe. Little, you know, more government power, more police power, more this, more that. And then we look back and we've taken all of these steps, you know, oh, a small change to our Bill of Rights, or another small change to our Bill of Rights. Oh, we can adjust the Bill of Rights as we see fit. It can be a slippery slope. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Have courage. Speak your truth. Support each other. Have faith. And have fun. Peace out.